Chapter 4. The Mountain is Moving. Before leaving for class on the Tuesday after the Kairos retreat, I asked Ashley if she would meet me at school during second hour to pray with me on my break. I waited for her in the library, and when she arrived, we proceeded to the chapel. Upon entering the chapel, we were met by John Listy and a young man who had attended Kairos that weekend. I asked him to join us in prayer for Eli. Also, 2 women were praying in the chapel, mothers of students attending St. Thomas More. I did not realize it at the time, but parents are always praying in the chapel throughout the day. They pray for the students and the entire school community. We told them we were praying for Eli, and they agreed to join us. Ashley sat in the chair next to me as I kneeled in front of the Blessed Sacrament and began to pray a series of prayer cards. After completing them, I tried to pray out loud straight from my heart. I asked the Virgin Mary to intercede on our behalf, to ask the Lord, her Son, to heal my son. I couldn't stand the thought of my son suffering. I could barely speak and began sobbing. With every tear that ran down my face, I could feel the healing beginning to take place inside of me. I could feel the strength of my wife as she held my hand and prayed with me. Following our time in the chapel, Ashley and I returned to the library to read a couple of letters I received from students who attended the weekend retreat. I read the letters aloud, and it was clear to both of us that the students had gotten a lot out of the retreat and were moved by Eli's story. Coach Judice, my name is Jacob Nelson from Catholic High. The first day when you gave us your testimony, I fought back tears. What really got me was what you said about your unborn son, Eli. The strength and faith you and your wife must have blows me away. I pray and wish that I can have the courage, strength, and faith in God that you do. Just to let you know, I will pray for you, your family, and Eli every day until I hear about how great he is doing. He will receive many prayers as I dedicate several rosaries to him. God bless and stay strong. When I finished reading the letter and looked at my wife, she had tears in her eyes. This is a miracle. I went to a retreat and prayed with students for a miracle. God has given us one, I said, referring to the way that Eli's story had moved this student's heart. This was the first clear-cut, concrete evidence of the impact that Eli's story would have on the school community. I knew it would be a long walk from October to February, but I was willing to make that walk with God's help. I had already determined that I could not do this alone. I was rededicating my life to prayer. I could not control the outcome of Eli's condition, but I could control how I chose to handle the situation each and every day. My life would become a constant prayer, and in this would be my strength. All the questions and uncertainties that swirled in my head had to do with future events over which I now realized I had no control. So in a very real sense, for the first time in my life, I truly let go and let God. To give me a boost in morale and push in the right direction, John Listy sent me an email that afternoon. I read it before leaving school. Chad, most people would be caving under this and cursing God. Instead, you're clinging to him and leading others to do the same. Amazing. Little Eli is already a messenger for God. He has called everyone to believe in God's miraculous love, and everyone is responding. Kids who have never prayed in class before are praying for Eli. Parents are hearing these cries and are praying again for their children and loving them unconditionally like they should. And young men are seeing a man of God go to war for his family right before their eyes. They heard you ask God to spare Eli and afflict you instead. That is true fatherly love. You and I have no real idea how powerfully the Holy Spirit is working through you, Ashley, Ephraim, and Elijah right now. God is so good. Hang in there, my brother. We're all with you. John. Unbelievable things began to unfold for Ashley and me the very moment we said yes to God and chose life for our unborn son. We stared at the unknown in the face and trusted in our Creator. Wednesday, October 8, 2008 was a big day for Ashley and me. This was the day we were to get the results of a blood test ordered by the doctor the previous week. The hours passed slowly throughout the school day as I anxiously awaited for a phone call to hear the results. By the end of the 7th period, I had not received that call. I began to think that maybe I would have to wait another day before getting the test results. I had placed the phone face down on my desk, and before packing my bags and preparing to leave for the day, I picked it up and flipped it over. Then I saw a text message. Got blood work back. It was normal. Ashley. I immediately dialed Ashley's number and asked her what explanation the doctor gave her for the test results. I distinctly remember the doctor saying the test would show an elevated protein level, that all mothers carrying a fetus with a neural tube defect get that result. Ashley relayed the doctor's exact words. I don't know how to explain this, but your protein levels are normal. I'm not sure what's going on, but congratulations. This is the first piece of good news on the medical front we had heard since the diagnosis. The good doctor may not have had an explanation, but that didn't matter to me. I didn't need one. I knew what was happening. I had just spent the previous weekend with a group of teenagers trying to discover God in their lives and praying in unison for the healing of my son. The miracle we had prayed for was beginning to happen. I arrived on campus early the following morning. It had been roughly a week since I announced my son's condition to the school community. I knew the situation was still fresh in everyone's mind. As the bell rang for the school to assemble for Mass that morning, I felt compelled to say something to the entire school community before Mass started. After all the students had filed in and one of our administrators was about to settle them down, I asked him a favor. He asked the students to quiet their hearts and minds for Mass. Then he introduced me and allowed me to say a few words. I had not written this down or even really thought it through, but I proceeded to walk up to the podium. When I looked out over the 1,200 people staring back at me, I took a deep breath and began to speak. I just wanted to take this opportunity to thank the student body, faculty, staff, and parents for all the prayers you have said for my family and me this past week. I know I could never have made it through the worst week of my life without them. I spent the past weekend on a retreat with some of you, and we asked God for a miracle. Since I returned home, I've seen two. I've seen an unborn child bring teenagers to prayer and to Jesus Christ. That's miracle number one. Yesterday, my wife received the results of an initial blood test. Every mother carrying a child with a neural tube defect is supposed to receive a test with an elevated protein level. My wife's test came back normal. The doctor cannot explain it. We don't need an explanation. I know what's happening. That's miracle number two. I stand before you as a witness to the power of prayer and the love of God the Father and His Son, Jesus Christ. Whether you know it or not, He lives in you. Jesus said if you had the faith the size of a mustard seed, you can move a mountain. Well, the mountain is moving. Keep praying. He hears you.